Leash falling. It is potentially scary at the beginning, but it is a lot of fun. And in many other sports, you learn how to fall before really committing for the motions, and it should be the same in highlining. Because a leash fall can be super nice, but it can also be bad. So there is one sort of leash fall that you really want to avoid, or that most people are scared. It would be like the backflip into the leash, because like this, the leash will end up between your legs. And yeah, obviously you don't want to have that. If you fall to the front, it doesn't really matter if the leash is on the side or here. And falling to the front, I mean not falling straight, but like dive, kind of this way. If you fall to the front, you always want to dive. However, if you want to fall to the back and have the leash between the legs, you do not want to go for a backflip motion, but you want to fall straight, kind of doing an ass bomb. Like the ass should be the lowest point in the falling, like this. And then falling to the back is no problem. However, if you're sitting and try that, it will not work, because the line will like push your legs upwards and you would still end in a backflip. So if you want to fall backwards, you can have the leash beside. And on the side also means to not have it over the knee, but like really like this over the thigh, because if like this I fall backwards, I still might get stuck with the knee. So now if I fall backwards, I go beside the leash. And here you can do both exercises. You can like drop to the front like this, or to the back as I showed before. Make sure that after every leash fall, the leash is nice and straight and not twisted. You should make sure to never have the leash wrapped around anything. So there are basically these two main patterns, falling to the front and falling to the back. And that also accounts when you sit straight. This would be to the front and this would be to the back. However, you can change the falling to the back by turning your shoulder, and you would still fall to the front. So normally as a beginner, you're better off falling to the front. Just dive head forward. So if I would fall this way, I would just dive head forward, and it's still a fall to the front. So if you fall while trying to get to feet, in this position, it will be the same falling pattern as in the sitting position. So if here I fall to the front, it's exactly the same. And let's now get started with like easy leash fall patterns, because leash falling is fun if you do it right. And the first thing I show to a Highline beginner to get over the fears is starting from a belly position, have the hands on the side of the leash, and then basically diving to the front. That's a real fun one. If you want to try that one, it's important to really kick the legs up so that you don't scratch here. Now you can make it nicer by using a bounce and a certain timing. When you bounce up and down, in the lowest point of the bounce, there is the most energy in the highline. In the highest point of the bounce, you're kind of weightless, so there is less energy of the highline pushing upwards. So jumping off in the highest point will be much nicer than jumping off in the lowest point. So when learning new leash fall patterns, I would really recommend to bounce up and down a bit, and in the highest point of the bounce, you go for the leash fall. So I show that again with the exactly same pattern. And now with the bounce in the highest point, I drop, and if I have the reflex, I can directly try to grab the leash and go up in the very next bounce. Also here, to go up in the next bounce, I wait for the highest point of the bounce to then give a little momentum and grab the line. This will save you a lot of energy and make it possible to go for many more leash falls. Now let's have a look falling out of a sitting position. So normally I have the leash rings between the feet and my butt, and falling to the front should be no problem. Sometimes, however, you keep rotating and the leg gets a little bit into the leash. And the best thing here is to just stay very soft in the legs. If you try to fight against the leash, you will not have more strength than the leash. The leash will be stronger than you in any case. And that will be less nice for your falling. So just stay soft, and when it happens a few times, your body will learn, and you will learn to like pull back the leg in the right moment to not get stuck in the leash. So when falling out of this position, again, with a bit of bounce, it's much nicer. So you bounce, and in the highest point, tack. And this is what sometimes happens. And if you press down this knee, it's gonna be less nice. So with more experience, you can try to pull back this leg and get it around the leash. Okay, let's have a look at falling from the standing position. And here again, you just want to roll down. It's not like in long lining, because in long lining you learn to slide off, and that's really not what you want to do, like this one. That's a pretty bad leash fall. So normally just dive head forwards, and it's going to be much nicer. So what you want to do when falling out of a standing position is like in the highest point of the bounce, and like this. It's a lot of fun. And as you can see, it's quite a complex thing with these leash falls, and that's also why I'm just trying to like show you all the possible different patterns, and it's often useful to already visualize it, and already like on a rodeo line or on a tight slack line on the ground, to already leash in without really leash falling, but just have a mat underneath and rolling around and see what happens when you have a certain leash falling pattern that in your head you already know what happens. And step by step you can increase the awareness how you fall, where the leash is.